Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session where we're going to take a look at how I use ChatGPT to extract requirements and insights from a stakeholder's interview for a Salesforce project. This is part of a quest that I'm doing with Clicked called Preparing for AI as a Salesforce Professional. The task at hand was to take an interview. We were provided with the transcript and a YouTube recording to take their interview and work with an AI to extract insights and requirements for the project. My tool of choice was ChatGPT. I actually have the paid version, and I'm going to show you how I used it for this project. Now, in full transparency, I have extensive use of ChatGPT. I'm quite familiar with how to use it. So this project was a little bit easier for me because I knew kind of how to navigate this whole scenario. I thought that I would share my experiences here so you can all learn from it and learn how to use ChatGPT a little more. I will say that one of the greatest ways to learn ChatGPT is really just to use it. I use it instead of Google. Instead of Googling, how do I do so-and-so or what is so-and-so, I'll use ChatGPT to generate that information. And then I can have a back and forth with the chat and get more information or have some follow-ups. Some people used ChatGPT to create the prompt that they then used for the project. So in other words, when you're working with ChatGPT, you're going to give it a task, or you're going to ask it to do something, or you're going to ask it a question. And that's your prompt, is prompting ChatGPT to return a result. And what was really cool to see is that some of the other groups in this project used ChatGPT to generate that prompt. They said, how would you create a prompt to do X, Y, or Z? I directly created my own prompt, and we're going to walk through the entire process that we went through over here. So just to kind of show you what's going on here, this is the transcript that we were provided with. You can see that it has timestamps and the conversation going on. We were also given a YouTube recording. If I'm able to, I'll go ahead and share those in the comments or in the post here. And so let's go here. So the process involved here was that I reviewed the interview and prepared my own notes. And that's typically what would happen if I was doing an interview with a stakeholder. I would record the session and I would take my own notes along the way. I then prompted ChatGPT to extract the insights, compared it with my own notes, came back to ChatGPT with a follow-up. I then created a new chat, which we're going to talk about shortly, had some follow-ups with ChatGPT as well, and then I got the results that I wanted. So let's look at that in more detail. This was my first prompt. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to highlight a few of the key points here. Where's my highlighter? There we go. Here we go, my highlighter. As a Salesforce business analyst, so I'm telling the chat what it should act as. What is the role and persona that is taken on for this ask? Then I'm telling it what it should do. You need to review a requirements gathering interview with a stakeholder and retrieve key information. So that's the ask. Then we have where I get more specific and I say it should include current state, pain points, desired outcomes. And I tell it the format that I wanted to output it in. Then I provided additional information as well, just explaining a little bit more about what the interview and transcript looks like. And then I asked ChatGPT to confirm the task. So some of the key things that you should note is, again, the persona or role at hand. What is the task or ask? What is the format that I wanted to respond in? Extra notes and information that would help ChatGPT in giving me the necessary information. And then I asked it for confirmation. Now, typically when I ask for confirmation, ChatGPT will summarize what I want it to do and ask if it should proceed, and then I'll tell it to go ahead. In this scenario, it just confirmed its understanding and proceeded to give me the output. And the output was pretty much what I would have expected with ChatGPT. Again, I'm pretty familiar with using this type of AI. I would say it gave me like 80–90% of what I expected it to. And you can see the screenshot here where it confirms its understanding and then gives me the headers and the bullet points as I requested. I did want it to be a little bit more comprehensive. So I did go ahead and give it a follow-up. I said, this is good. I want you to expound on the outcomes and business objectives. And I want you to provide me with KPIs based on the 4 departments discussed in the interview, which are operations, marketing, finance, and course creation. So ChatGPT so these are the 3 things that I kind of modified in my prompt. And ChatGPT kind of went and did its own thing. It ignored the previous work it had done, and it just created a whole bunch of KPIs and outcomes for those 4 departments, just based on the subject at hand, which I omitted to explain was just a school that wants to track more metrics around enrollment and dropouts and things like that. So what I could have done is I could have tried to redirect the chat and say like, hey, I want you to reference the outcome you've already given me, the results you've already given me. But sometimes when ChatGPT kind of just does its own thing and starts hallucinating, it's easier to start a new chat and just begin afresh. And that's exactly what I did. I created a second prompt, very similar to my first prompt. And you can see I've indicated here the parts that have been changed, where I ask it to include KPIs from the transcript and interview and not to create its own outcome. I also re-emphasize that I do want it to confirm its understanding. So here are the things that I added. I specified what not to do. And that's something really helpful to do with ChatGPT, is to say what you don't want, what should not be included, kind of really, really narrowing down the scope and filters that the AI should use. Again, it confirmed its understanding of the task, but then proceeded immediately to give me the results. They were pretty similar to the first results I got in the first chat. Again, I compared it to my notes, very, very similar. And what I then did is I gave it a follow-up and asked it to review my own notes and ensure that the information is consolidated. So I copied over my own notes and asked it to include that information. ChatGPT unfortunately went on its own thing and provided me with a new output that was only based off of my notes. And so I corrected it and I said, I want you to use the results from the interview and transcript and my own notes. And at that point, we reached success. I'm going to hop over to the actual chat just to kind of show you what it looked like. So here is my first chat with the prompt that I showed you. Now, something interesting is I directly uploaded the document here. Other groups copied and pasted the transcript, and then they ran into processing issues, or the transcript was too long. I think it's 35 pages. So I directly uploaded the document here and put the YouTube link here. You could see here ChatGPT confirms its understanding, gives me the output with headers and bullet points as requested. Here's where I ask for the KPIs, and it goes off and it does its own thing. So like I said, I started a new chat here, pretty much the same prompt with the changes that I specified that I showed you earlier. Again, ChatGPT confirms its understanding and gives me the headers with the bullet points. Notice here that under the outcomes, it's giving me further breakdown based on the different departments that I specified. And here's where I ask it to include my own notes. I copied my notes here. It gave me an output solely based off of my own notes. And now I'm like, okay, let's put that together. And again, we have this final output here. Now I do want to specify, and this is really important, that I would never take the output from ChatGPT and just copy and paste it and send it to a client. You will always, always want to have manual intervention there. You want to make sure that it included everything that it should. Maybe ChatGPT left out something that you do consider important. Maybe it still included something that it shouldn't have. Maybe the stakeholder spoke about something that's in the long-term future project and ChatGPT included it here. We don't want that. You want to make sure that it's kind of following, like, the terminology and verbiage is appropriate. ChatGPT has a tendency to sometimes become overly verbose and use very technical terms or use a ton of adjectives. to explain something that's very simple. You always want to have your manual review. You want to have that human input to make sure that this output is correct. Thanks for following along. I hope you found this helpful. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, post your comments in the chat below. Have a great day.